The lights go out. Now away they go. Pretty even start between the two of them, and it looks like it's going to be Wilkins who just about has the squeeze into target for the first time. In fact, it was a relatively decent gap that he had into the first left-hander at the beginning of this race. Now off up to the banking they go, and it's certainly Don de Graaf, ex-Clio racer, in second place. There's one going rather wide at the banking, exiting stage left. He'll reappear in a moment, I'm sure. But it is then from pole position. Matt Wilkins leading the way, Don de Graaf in second. I think it's Trafford King in third place as well at the moment as they head past the school building up towards the left-hander at Rocket for the first time. The car that was off, Andy?
Hold the line caller. I think 13, Tom McFarlane, by the looks of it, who nearly went off at Church as well. He's had a bit of a lively opening half a lap of racing on dirty tyres now, of course, and there's a bit of elbow banging going on up at the top of the hill as everyone scrabbles for position. The 374 of Kai Lindsay, who's already lost quite a few places on this opening lap, losing some more there by being on the receiving end of some rough treatment going into Rocket. Then they round the tricky right-hander at Peel, drop down towards the corkscrew for the first time, where it is grid order at the front of the field. Then Matt Wilkins ahead of Don de Graaf, ahead of Trafford King, the top three. And as they come across the line, it is then fourth position for Jessup, fifth position for Joseph McMullen. So McMullen, the first one to have gained a position from where he started, up from sixth to fifth.
Yeah, and this is side by side. It's Joe Dalgarno going a bit slowly, actually. He's got a bit of a problem. Ross Borman it was that went around the outside of him, but Dalgarno's got to pull off the circuit there and park up against the barriers by the looks of it. So that's a great shame for the former MG Trophy driver as well. He's off the circuit at the banking, looks to be out of the race. So he exits. The race continues, though. It's still Matt Wilkins leading from Don de Graaf in second. We're watching midfield runners go through Church Corner at the moment. Tom McFarlane trying to get back onto the coattails of the rest of the field. It's Ursula Jordan, I think, who's ahead of him as things stand, as they climb back up the hill. Battle going on here. That's the number 7 car of Andrew Widwin, so he's made up places because he was right towards the back of the field. He's trying to get past Kai Lindsay in the 374 car, unable to do anything about him at the moment. That's the battle for 16th and 17th places. It looks like Lindsay actually on this lap has got ahead of Idwin and holding on to that place for the moment. But the leaders going back through the corkscrew. Still the same leader, Matt Wilkins ahead of Don de Graaf, 86 ahead of 15. But they're all streaming their way through the corkscrew there.
Yep, across the line we go then. 2 laps in the books, 0.6 of a second the lead for Matt Wilkins over Don de Graaf in the front of the field. So not a huge variation in lap time between the two of them. With King, Jessup and McMullen next. Through the banking they head. And around towards the quick right-hander at Church. Someone's been off, have they? I think they bounced back onto the road, whoever they were. But that's been a bit of a trouble spot, Target Corner. It's a tricky corner, full commitment required through what is a deceptively quick left-hander. Church Corner, the fastest part, or corner anyway, on the circuit that leads to the fastest part of the track up the school straight. And right at the back of the group there, McFarlane now, Tom McFarlane having caught back up to the tail of the field after his grassy excursion on lap 1. Round the outside, attacks into the Rocket complex. Delilah, there's a big collision further back, numbers 12 and 18 that is, and that is almost certainly going to be a safety car. Richard Jones came in like a rocket, and Matthew Duffel, unfortunately, in the way with nowhere to go. Duffel dragging his car out of the way, but I don't think we're going to see the other car get out of the way under its own steam, and that may well require a safety car.
Green flag waved at the back. 5-second board ahead of a 5-minute race. Red lights go on. Out they go, and the race gets underway. Again, an even start by the two at the front, but I think it's going to be the 86 car of Wilkins that's ahead into the first corner. Don de Graaf slots into second place. Joe Jessup in third, gets ahead of Trafford King, though. He drops back down to fourth position as they turn through the banking for the first time. They're all making their way through. Again, it's Tom McFarlane off on the grass again, not quite as far as on the original start, but again he's got the banking all wrong, or the exit of it anyway. Hopefully we'll get that sorted out sometime tomorrow. Anyway, there's the 11th car. That's the car of Joseph McMullen, the driver from Bromsgrove in Worcestershire. he is just tucked in behind Trafford King, so they are battling for 4th place.
Oh, and a launch up the inside. That is Jessup, isn't it? Already up 1 from where he restarted, and now up into 2nd place as he tries to lever aside Don de Graaf, who stands his ground. There's a bit of a tap in the tail as they turn into the 2nd part of Rocket. Don de Graaf stays alongside. That's the inside line now for Peel Corner, but a pretty physical altercation there between the two of them. Can Don de Graaf now make that position his? Yes, he can, and fends up a fired-up Joe Jessup. That was a really, nearly a very good outbraking manoeuvre by Jessup, but just couldn't quite get the job done.
Down through the corkscrew then for the first time in this short race. Probably going to be 4 laps, I would think, that we get out of this. Over the line goes Matt Wilkins, and it's a lap gap of 1.2 seconds already because de Graaf and Jessup were falling over each other a little bit, so that's kind of in such a short race. Absolute manner for Matt Wilkins, because he's got a gap that might just about be enough to see him through to the end of the race. De Graaf 2nd, Jessup 3rd, King 4th, McMullen 5th, and Ross Bourman in 6th, so he's not made up any more places from his position at the restart.
No, he hasn't. Through Church Corner goes a man who has, though, Joe Jessup, almost into 2nd place. Oh, now that's a problem, is it, for Trafford King? I think it is. Trafford King's car slowing now, coming out of Church Corner. That's not a good place to be going slowly. He sensibly gets the car off the road as quickly as he can and will pull up against the tyre wall. Now, that should be far enough off the road that we don't need a safety car interruption, but that is a real shame for Trafford King then, whose car just suddenly seemed to lose drive mid-corner.
Yeah, Trafford King, the 750 Motor Club Sim Racing champion as well.
Yeah.
Is out of this particular race. So we're watching 95, which is Ben Seabold. He's got 61, James Delisle just behind him. This is the battle for 8th and 9th. Ahead of them is number 19, Ollie Musgrave, who's 4th in the championship coming into this weekend, to be a little bit disappointed, I would think, with his position so far in this race. P7 he's running at the moment. Lap 2 being completed, 2 minutes 18 to go. So yeah, it'll be 2 more laps that they get out of this. 8/10 now the lead for Wilkins over de Graaf, so that has come down with de Graaf doing the best lap of the race, a 1:20.128. Lap record for these cars is a 1:18.51 set by Adam Shepherd 3 years ago.
Yes, very handy driver, isn't he, Adam Shepherd, in all things front-wheel drive. Still managed to beat him in a sim racing championship once on iRacing, but I never mentioned that, you'll be happy to hear.
Never brought it up now.
Anyway, yes, we're nowhere near that pace at the moment, are we? It has warmed up significantly, though, I must say, over the last 20 minutes or so. There's another car I noticed stopped on the exit of the banking. Who else have we lost?
That's Ross Bourman.
Oh, it is Ross Bourman. Right, okay, that must have been a lap ago that he pulled over.
Oh, is it? Is it? Maybe it's not Ross Bourman. I beg your pardon.
Whoever it is, they're only now getting out of the car, so I think it's this lap that they've stopped. Anyway, we'll get there in the end. It could be Bourman. Meanwhile, we've got the inside for Adam Parker there, I think actually defending a position as they went into the Rocket Complex. Accelerate up towards Peel Corner. The leaders, though, down at the corkscrew. They're about to begin their final lap of racing. And are we going to find that we are minus the erstwhile 5th place man, Ian?
Yes, I think I was right first time. Anyway, so we're on board here with Adam Parker, this is, isn't it? In the 92 car. Dropping down to fuel cap open there. Yeah, get your black and orange flag in the BTCC these days. Last lap board has not yet gone out. A driving standards flag has gone out to somebody, though. That was to number 74, which is Richard Lindsay, who's got that. New fastest lap of the race. To the race lead now, Matt Wilkins, a 1:20.037.
Yep, so down through Church Corner come the leading 3, but really, since the restart, Matt Wilkins has very much stamped his authority on this race. The gap came down slightly a couple of laps ago, but then Wilkins set that fastest lap of the race, 1:20.0, and he's pushing on here on the final lap to try and get down into the 1:19s. They were in the 19s in qualifying, low 19s actually, 19.3 was the pole position time for Matt Wilkins, and is he going to be able to get down to that at the end of the race, I wonder. Further back, though, still some battles to be sorted out. This is a fight going on for 5th position, isn't it? Musgrave, Seabold and Delisle all together. Delisle qualified right towards the back of the field, so a good drive this from Jason. There's been more drama, and that is McFarlane again, isn't it? Now he's missing a chunk of his car, and that is why, because he's tangled with the number 77 of Luke Emmons, again, Ian, up at Rocket.
Meanwhile, the leaders coming through the corkscrew for the final time. The checkered flag is made ready, and it's going to be Matt Wilkins that wins for a 3rd time this season in the Tegiwa Type R Trophy. 2nd to Don de Graaf, 3rd to Joe Jessup. 4th place goes the way of Joe McMullen. 5th place to number 19, Ollie Musgrave. And 6th to number 95, Ben Seabold. cars still coming through, but that was a very attritional and damaging opening race of the weekend, and first of 3 races this weekend for the Tegiwa Type R Trophy.
Now, was it you, Ian, or I who tempted fate at the start of that by saying, I hope the cars are all as pristine
I think that was
at the
definitely
end of
you.
it? I fear you might be right. But anyway, the good news is the drivers appear to be okay. That's such a shame for Tom McFarlane, who certainly has a story to tell after that race. That was not his first moment, but that one, unfortunately, the most costly. Big hit there across the front of the car, clearly.
And ironically, if he'd not had that moment, then that wouldn't have happened because it'd have been further up the road. He might have been in somebody else's accident, but yeah, a great shame for Tom, and quite a few drivers, therefore, with work to do overnight. Joe Dalgarno, Matt Duffel, Richard Jones, Trafford King, Ross Borman, Lee Emmons, Tom McFarlane. So at least 7 drivers there with cars that either had mechanical issues or have bodywork and mechanical damage. Anyway, results time at the end of that 5-minute race for the Tegiwa Type R Trophy. It is Matt Wilkins, number 86, that took the victory at the end of 4 laps of racing. And he did so in 5 minutes, 25.060 seconds, and he was 0.948 seconds ahead of number 15, Don de Graaf, in second place. Third place went the way of number 28, Joe Jessup. Fourth to number 11, Joseph McMullen. Fifth to number 19, Ollie Musgrave. Sixth to number 95, Ben Seabold. Then it was 61, James Delisle. 74, Richard Lindsay. 374, Kai Lindsay. And 92, Adam Parker. So good result for him. I think a new engine for Adam Parker this weekend. And Ursula Jordan, Lee Rickard and Andrew Edwin completing the 13 finishes, with a little bit of damage to be dealt with before tomorrow's race at 5 to 10 in the morning. There's another one 25 to 4 in the afternoon tomorrow as well. There you can see some of the non-finishers from that race. So we're halfway through the day's racing here at Anglesey. Still 6 races to go. There's minis coming up next with the Mini 7s. There's Mazda 7s coming up after that from the Aimshot Mazda 7 Championship. Then we've got Bike Sports, the Armed Forces Race Challenge, the K-Tech Racing Clear Sport Championship, and the 116 Sprint Trophy and 120 Coupe Cup to round out the day's racing. We've got cars heading into Parc Fermé. We've got quite a few cars to recover as well at the end of that race. So let's hope we can hear from a few drivers with Kieran Mogg at the end of that Tegiwa Type R Trophy race.
Fantastic race once again from the Civics, and we are with our winner, Matt Wilkins. Fantastic, and what a race.
Yeah, it was a bit tricky with the stoppage, sort of do it all again, but it was good. And Don, teammate in second. Thank you. Teammate in second, which is great. Yeah. So yeah, that's good. It's what we needed.
Yeah, definitely. Talk us through what what's like in your mind when you're going through that restart. You know you've got those fast guys behind you. What's going through your mind at that point?
So you've got to do it again. Yeah, just to get a good start again and try and maintain it. And yeah, it went well.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the win.
Very much. Cheers.
Yes, thank you. We're going to talk to... oh, there's a big board there. Didn't mean to walk into it. Don de Graaf. Don, you were just under a second off the win, but it was a good race overall. How was it?
Yeah, no, I think it's a big step forward in the dry. It's obviously awesome because Matt's my teammate. He's leading the championship, so it's like perfect result for the team. But I'm just happy to have, kept up with him a bit, to be honest, because so far this year he's just been dropping me by miles. So yeah, it was nice to keep up with him, and I'll keep trying to chip away for the rest of the year.
Definitely. Do you reckon you can probably take it to him for the next race?
It feels to me like he does. Like there's some parts of the track where he really does just pull away a bit, and then the only place I can really catch him back up is down this corkscrew. So I think I need to look at the other parts of the track. But yeah, he's seriously on it, so he's a hard guy to beat.
No, absolutely. Well, congratulations on the second place anyway.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you. And we talk to our third place, Joe Jessup. Joe, if we can just jump in here a second. Third place, very, very close between the three of you. How was it out there?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it's a tricky circuit. Can't quite get the setup right on the car, so maybe just a few tenths off these boys. But yeah, another good race. Yeah. And
is Anglesey a circuit that you enjoy?
It is, yeah. I mean, it's very technical at the top. It's pretty fast down the back. So yeah, it's a long way to get. Yeah.
Definitely. Obviously, the clouds that were here this morning have disappeared. The sun is shining. How hot is it in there?
It's actually not too bad, because I think the temperature, if the sun's not on you, the temperature's not too bad. But yeah, I thought it was going to be wet all day, so we were sort of planning a wet setup for the day today. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully it's dry again and we can keep tweaking the car.
Absolutely. We'll look forward to seeing that.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Anyway, we've got the minis coming up next. Don't go anywhere.